It's Hockey Prospect Radio, partnered with ECAC Hockey, the leaders in hockey on and off the ice. Learn more at ecachockey.com. Happy to bring on Angela Ruggiero, Hockey Hall of Fame, co-founder of Sports Innovation Lab, hockey ops advisor for the New York Rangers, and a Harvard alum. So if I had to actually say all the accomplishments you had, I think we'd probably run out of 10 minutes easily. So, but thank you very much for coming on the show. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
As an alumni, and going through it obviously as a player, and you went to Harvard University, got your degree, and then left, and then came back to Harvard again. You just couldn't stay away, of course, to your master's. Talk about the experiences at Harvard and playing in the ECAC in terms of how that helped you prepare yourself for life after hockey, because eventually, sooner or later, everybody can't play anymore, and there's a life beyond that. How much did that impact you looking back?
Yeah, I had an amazing career at Harvard. I think the idea of I could actually be a student athlete there was very appealing and part of the reasons I went there. We had a great hockey team, won a national championship my freshman year, a couple of runner-up trophies my junior and senior year. Won't revisit that. Uh, but but no, I think also being a female hockey player back when I played, there weren't a lot of career prospects in the game. I knew I would keep playing Olympic hockey, but in the back of my head, I pretty much knew I had to have a second career. So I think being aware of that while I was at Harvard, I tried to take advantage of the various courses and extracurriculars and try to be a true student athlete, which I think set me up well because it kind of opened my aperture to things that existed outside of hockey. And yeah, I just again had an amazing experience there, both academically and athletically. And owe a lot of my future success to the time I spent at Harvard as an undergrad. It's just these like formidable years where you're learning about yourself. And a lot of my teammates too, I still stay in touch with. I mean, um, it's special time in everyone's lives. So I always have fond memories talking about it.
How much does the networking, not only with your peer group, but with the Harvard alumni, impacts on what you can accomplish outside of that? Because no one accomplishes anything in a bubble. You
Yeah.
need help from other people. And how much did that network within Harvard, but also the ECAC family, help shape some of the entrepreneurial like adventures that and courses that you put yourself on?
Yeah. No, it's everything. It's, relationships are everything in life. And, you build relationships that help you post career. Or to your point, just that Harvard logo, getting me in certain doors or getting to meet certain folks. As I was starting my company, Sports Innovation Lab, trying to raise capital. So, I didn't go there specifically for that, but it was like this benefit, I think, of just, when you graduate, there's an alumni program and opportunities, the Harvard Varsity Club. I'm still, I'm one of the members there, just trying to get back a little bit because I understand, in the hockey world and the sports world and sort of the academic world, everything helps. So I couldn't agree more. Like I'm a big team player. I know you can't do anything alone, and I've benefited from, yeah, the network, the resources, even as a graduate, even as an alumni.
Talk about trying to balance academics with hockey as a student athlete. And did that end up building a high level of grit, emotional and mental grit? Because there's really isn't much of a downtime. That's high level of academics and your training and your practice. And then you got a game Friday night and then another opponent on Saturday night. And then Sunday's a blip of trying to get your work done. And then you're right back into the fire again.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of the best skills that I learned is time management as being a student athlete at Harvard. My coach, Katie Stone, she used to say, when you walk across the river, you're a hockey player. When you walk back across, you're a student. And you had to I had a schedule by the minute. I remember I'd sprint home, take a 15-minute nap before practice because I knew that would help me on the ice. You had to compartmentalize your social time and your hockey time, and just the idea that you had to really be methodical and thoughtful of how you spent your time to be both an athlete and a student. And one of my proudest accomplishments, I was the Patty Kazmaier winner in my senior year at Harvard, which is the top hockey player. But I was also the top one in the top 8 student athletes in the NCAA. I had straight A's that year. I had to work. Again, I'm not, I don't know my background. I had to work for my grades. But what I
Same here.
realized, I just realized it's the same methodology. It's the same sort of method of success on the ice is off the ice. And if I applied myself academically, I could be successful. And I was, an academic All-American as well as an All-American. And, it's just, I really loved the fact that I could develop both mind and body at Harvard. And to your point of, in a compressed amount of time, I couldn't just hang out. But if I was going to hang out, which I did, I had to. It was like, okay, I'm going to hang out on Saturday night, and I'm going to allow myself to just relax. That's carried me so far, I think, just that application, especially as like an entrepreneur, where you have a million things coming at you, and you have to be methodical with your time, and you're wearing multiple hats and you're trying to do multiple things. I have a family now. I'm trying to juggle, family life. And so the idea of being a student athlete and having a lot on your shoulders is certainly, mentally you got to be able to be prepared for it. But it's one of the benefits I think of, why I love the student athlete experience, the NCAA experience, the ECAC experience, like and why, I hope that it continues in its form. It's the benefits you get as a person that I think young people, you're developing these softer skills, these intangible skills that they take to life. So yes, we're all going to stop playing hockey one day. That's the unfortunate reality. But you're more prepared to, set goals and work as a team and have your time management and be on time and work through adversity and win as a team, but lose as a team. All these things that, in the business world are imperative. And I think these super qualities that when you're applying to jobs or trying to look for, your next career, as I tell hockey players, lean on those, flex those. Those are skills you've developed, even though that you can't really put them on your resume. So, yeah, I feel blessed to have had that experience at Harvard.
when you talk when you get a chance to speak with young women that are potentially entering obviously into the ECAC or are currently there, what are some of the things that you try to impart some wisdom and experience with them and say, hey, just keep mindful of this? I'm like, you don't have to necessarily do it, but these are things that may pop up, and just stay the course.
Yeah. Well, I think, well, one, the ECAC has the richest tradition for women's hockey. I think the WCHA has won more titles. Technically, it gets uh, a lot more visibility recently. But you know, Brown. I mean, there were the things. The oldest program, 1964, Northeastern. I mean, there's some as we go through the sort of the history of women's hockey. I won't go into it now, but um, there are these teams, and a lot of Ivy League teams, by the way, that started women's programs. So just to understand your history, kind of how we got to where we are today, but also to enjoy the experience. Not everyone's going to get to play in the Olympics or play professional hockey, but your time as a student athlete is, to me, one of the best times in your life. And the friendships that you create and the experiences that you get to be a part of, you have this really interesting blend where you're still amateur in whatever sense of the world you can say now with NIL, but you're still amateur where you're there to play the game. But you're also able to, again, do other things outside of just play hockey, and to just enjoy that. I think to me, it's about being present, enjoying the moment. Yes, trying to win a championship. Who doesn't want to win a championship and feel that? But all the other things that come with being a student athlete, I try to remind them.
What really impressed me recently, I was taking a look at the rosters of the women's professional league and how many of those teams are dotted with ECAC alumni. I was
Mhm.
actually kind of taken back at the number as I was
Yeah.
just trying to track that. That's impressive.
Yeah. Yeah, it continues to be a dominant league. I think it's always prioritized, the commissioner and the folks that have helped build it have always prioritized that they want to be known for their women's hockey. And so thus you get the structures and support in place to develop, at the university level these athletes. Um And it's that tradition, once established, you want to continue to keep building on that. So yeah, it's always fun to look at the rosters, certain sports come and go. Women's hockey, I think in the ECAC has always been there, and I think will continue to be there.
Well, Angela, I want to thank you very much for coming on the show. Really appreciate it and look forward to speaking to you in the future.
All right. Thanks, Shane, for having me.
We're going to take a short break on Hockey Prospect Radio. Stay tuned right after this.